just getting started here.
We've improved this out of season. There's no doubt about it, and in every aspect. And we're a hungry football team. We still have a chip on our shoulder. We have a tremendous sense of urgency. But I would tend to agree with you. We've improved. Now we got to play the games, but we are doing the real work. Day in and day out. Chopping wood every day, the work that it takes to get better. No one cares what we did a season ago. We certainly don't. And it's about what we do next. And really, what we do and how we go about it is the actions are going to create the outcomes. And so we know that. And we're in total control of, what we do on a day-to-day basis. Our culture is shifted. Now, our goal is to win every game on the schedule, and that's always going to be the goal, is to finish first and bring a championship to East Lansing.
Terps beating Terps too often this season. Here's a little flea flicker. They've had great success this season. They strike again. This time Montori Foster, touchdown from 52. Well, Brock, if you're the other team, you got to be saying they can't possibly run another one of these, but they do, and it results in another touchdown.
Well, it's the influence of number 9, first and foremost. You see that whole front 7 attack, and then on the outside, you just can't beat a corner any more cleanly than that. That is beautiful, well done, right off the jump. And when you got somebody that open, you cannot overthrow it. That's a perfect ball from Peyton Thorne in that explosive play.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching Spartan Dogs for Life, the SD4L show. I am Brian Musalam, along with my co-host, Justin Thin. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Another good day to talk MSU football and basketball, Brian. Excited to be here.
Just absolutely excited to be here. We have a very, very special guest joining us tonight. One we're hoping calls flea flickers every play to start the season. Offensive coordinator Jay Johnson joins the show today. Coach, how you doing, Coach? Appreciate you joining us.
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me, man. It's a privilege and a pleasure to spend a little time with you.
Thank you so much for joining us, Coach. Do you want to weigh in on Roe v. Wade before we start, or do you want to get into football? What do you think?
A little bit later in the show, maybe.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you joining us so much. And obviously the numbers speak for themselves, and what we've done last year. And like Coach said at the press conference today, that last year doesn't really matter about this year. And so we're happy to have you. And Coach, real briefly, just talking schematically, when you look at when you put your scheme in and you tailor your scheme and you have a philosophy in which you abide by and which you follow, is it something that you're ironclad on, or is it something that you kind of tailor around your personnel?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's a little bit of both. I feel that you certainly have to have some substance to you, what you're doing, and have a basis to your foundation to you. But at the same token, we'd be foolish if you don't look at who you have, try to highlight those certain people. So I really feel it's really a combination of both things that we try to do, and get folks in the right places, get them involved at the right time in particular situations. So yeah, certainly have a foundation, but we're always looking and trying to really kind of mold it around the people we have.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And one of the most exciting parts about molding an offense in terms of this upcoming season, you have a tight end that's going to be coming in, very established, DJ Barker from Illinois. I know when you were first hired, you mentioned tight end as the MVP of your offense. Tyler Hunt did an admirable job moving from punter over to tight end. Malik Carr was kind of still new to the position, so you didn't have a fixture at tight end. Now you finally have one. And I've told people all along that once Coach Johnson gets a tight end, then you'll see what he meant. I'm very excited to see how that transition will occur. Coach, what can you say about what you're looking forward to, having an established tight end, a record-setting tight end, and what do you kind of expect fans to kind of see out of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, really excited about the position overall. You mentioned all those particular players that we have. T. Hunt's done a tremendous job since we kind of moved him and transitioned him. And then you talked about Malik, which was really, in my opinion, just starting to catch fire at the end of the year. And then obviously the addition of DJ, not to mention some of the other guys we have in the program with Powers Warren and things of that nature. So I just see, those guys, when you really look at ball, they have to do everything. They've got to be able to run block. They got to at times be able to pass block. And then they got to be able to try to find open, create space, and make plays in the pass game. So that's why I always refer to them as the MVP, because we use them a lot of different ways. We move them all over the field. And, it's really, really important that those guys can be highlighted. And I'm really, really excited to get into camp with these guys. T. Hunt was out after a tough season with some nicks and bruises in spring. DJ wasn't here yet. And Malik was still hooping a little bit. So, to have all those guys back going into fall camp is really exciting for us and the staff.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
So, Coach, QB1, Peyton's growth over the last year, preparing and doing the things that he needs to do to get better. Talk a little bit about, kind of the offseason that he's had and the expectations, which, are obviously high. And he's, garnered some preseason accolades. But talk a little bit about the development of Peyton and where we're headed there.
Yeah, I think I'm excited about Peyton. Obviously, had a very solid year. But if you talk to he and I both, we know there's a huge room to grow. And he did a really good job of managing himself and managing the game last year. And I look for that to even take another step. If you look at the different things that he does with our team and how he's taken the forefront, what you need to be as a quarterback, you got to run the show, and he's done that. And I think the guys, now that he has those snaps behind his belt, he's going to become even a different player. And my expectations for him are extremely high, and he is the same. And so we're looking at really the details of his game from a physical piece and a mental piece. I think he's grown a lot on that in the spring and the summer. And obviously that needs to carry over the fall. And I think Coach Tuck mentioned it today, that the biggest sign, the biggest display of a good football team is consistency. Same with the quarterback position. And I think Peyton and I would both agree that we can develop that at a higher level of consistency. And that's definitely the goal as we charge on in here to fall camp.
Coach, your record as a play caller and as a talent developer kind of speaks for itself these last 2 years. The thing that I kind of point to as probably most impressive to me is your ability to be a talent evaluator. Looking at who you've offered and how many offers they had at the time, who they ended up getting offered by, I think you have a track record of identifying good quarterbacks before a lot of other people. My question is, when you are watching high school quarterbacks, when you are watching their highlights, what do you look for to really identify who's good? What traits do those quarterbacks possess? Because everyone's highlight reels, they're completing every pass, they're throwing touchdowns left and right. But what do you look for that are discernible traits that elevate maybe an offeree over just any good quarterback?
Well, I think there's a couple things. First of all, obviously, as you mentioned with the highlight reels, I mean, hell, I would hate they would put an incomplete pass on a highlight tape. I mean, that would be kind of foolish. So yeah, everybody completes every throw on the highlight deal. It's pretty impressive. But I think there's obviously to play at the level we play at in the league we play at, you have to have a certain skill set, a certain physical skill set. So, we certainly try to go through that. I mean, I will watch guys multiple times. And now that this recruiting deal, as you know, is becoming so expedited, I mean, sometimes I'm watching freshmen, and then I watch them after their freshman year, their sophomore year, and you kind of keep growing. I think you develop that where they're at. But then for me, it really is the next step is when I can begin to contact the person and begin to develop that relationship and see who is this person all about. Because as you know, running the show and being the quarterback of Michigan State football comes a big responsibility, obviously. And you get a good feel for those guys. Once you do that, you get into a situation where you can study some ball with them. who are they made of? You try to connect with those that they touch. And so I think it's really all those things kind of put in together that really helps me to try to get to the point where I might offer a kid or I might not. I might hold a little bit longer. Obviously huge evidence in the tape, but then there's all those other things that we try to nitpick at it and try to find as much detail as we can about the individual.
When you first got hired, Brad Salem's a good friend of mine. I mean, Smokey.
Brad well.
That's his dad's name, but he spoke,
Yep.
I mean, very highly of you and said what a great hire you were. And great that you were coming over here and just had just a glowing review of you. What made you follow Mel Tucker here from Colorado?
When you spend some time around Mel, the best way I can describe Mel on an everyday basis is he's real. And that means a lot to me as a coach and as a parent, as a husband, as a family guy. He's real. And the way he took care of me, gave me the opportunity when we were together at Georgia to go to Colorado. I was blessed again to be extended an opportunity to join him here because I know what I'm going to get from him every day. I know where he's at. I think he and I are very much on the same page as far as what we want to try to get accomplished as a whole football program totally, but then obviously specifically offensively. I think there's that, but then it's also that part of, he gets it. He has a balanced life. He allows us as a staff to have a balanced life. And when you're balanced in this type of profession, which can get pretty tough at times, we all know that pays dividends because I think it gives us an edge as a staff. So those are the main things. And I just wanted to work with him. He's treated me really well. He's blessed my family and I, and, I was when the offer came, I was very excited to be able to have that opportunity.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Coach, when you landed Katin Houser last year's cycle, I guess going back to the pursuit, he just had that offer from Boise State where he was leaning towards, committed to him eventually. Didn't have a lot of buzz, didn't have a lot of high-profile rankings and stuff. Ended up obviously going to the Elite 11. Everyone knows he ended up a 4-star. He's a guy that the fan base has really gravitated towards. He might not play much this year. We'll see. But when you look at Katin Houser, what do you kind of look for in his development this next year? What boxes does he sort of need to check to maybe be QB2? Or I guess even not even getting that specific, what do you need to see from Katin Houser this year for you to know he's on the right track?
I think it would be a big step mentally. Katin's very, very gifted physically, and he's actually has an unbelievably high football IQ. And so certainly want to continue to develop that. But, that transition, it's always, for a lot of players, that transition into the college level and the speed of the game. And, he was here this spring, and it's amazing when we started spring ball to when we finished. And now I look at me through the whole summer with Coach Novak and the strength guys and continuing to develop how he's even changed even as of today. And so if he can keep rolling in the progression he's rolling, he has a very, very bright future. And because I knew he was very talented physically, and what really took me over the top, we kind of alluded to it earlier in the discussion, was where he was at mentally. I was very, very pleased, very, very excited. And that's why I was so fired up to get him to be a part of Michigan State football. And so I think it's just, kind of that natural growth, that natural next step mentality. And I expect that to happen really quickly for him in the fall. I think he'll make a huge jump even this fall.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And as you were saying in your previous response about knowing the player themselves, what kind of person they are, what kind of teamer they can be, I've gotten to know Katin and his family very well, and I can definitely vouch and say that is exactly the kind of person you need in the locker room for sure. Kind of pivoting a little bit into one of the kind of more focal points of this offseason. Kenneth Walker is gone. You guys,
why would that be a focal point?
Yeah, people need something to talk about. So,
I'm with you.
You got the 2020 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. I think people are really sleeping on Jarek Broussard.
Hold on. Coach and I were watching film on him. Go ahead, Coach. Tell him. When you and I were evaluating him in the portal, go ahead, tell him.
I have utmost faith if you were part of the process.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then Jalen Berger. I think those guys combined can possibly make up some of the production Kenneth Walker had. Do you agree? What is your take on replacing Kenneth Walker's production and how this duo could possibly help do that?
Right. Well. Ironically, I think about it every moment of every day because Kenneth was so special, And we obviously knew that after I think we had a good feeling of it even during spring ball and fall camp. But after
Coach, let me interrupt you. When did you guys know that? Like, when did you guys say, "Wow, we got something special here"? Like,
there was, I'm trying to think. It was either, it might have been the same Wildcat play we ran the first play in OT against Nebraska. I think we ran it in a fall scrimmage. I can't remember if it was fall or spring. I'm pretty certain it was fall. And he took it to the house like that. And I said, we might have something pretty neat here.
Wow.
And then just the way he worked every day, the way he went about it, it was just phenomenal. As you guys know him well. He's just a phenomenal young man. So, but certainly on our radar every day. Obviously, the addition of Jalen Berger, the addition of Jarek Broussard, we hope can come in and be really a competitive fire for that room. So you have them, you have the guys that have been here some with Jordan and Harold Joyner and Elijah. I tell you, Elijah's been busting his tail and looks great this summer. So, it probably be a little bit different and maybe a little bit more by committee, but I'm really, really excited. Obviously Jarek wasn't here this summer, in the spring, but now he's been here this summer working out. He looks in great shape. I thought Jalen Berger, once he got in and kind of realized how it was going to go, really, really took off towards the end of spring. I started to see some flashes of the player that I think he really can be. So I really feel good about that spot. It's an exciting time. Obviously, we know it's going to be different, but I really anticipate it's going to be a good different. And I look for those guys. Again, we need those guys to be very productive and excited to see how that really, really plays out.
That's exciting stuff. We're the speed, right? Taking the top off the defense, speed on the edges, speed in the backfield. QB1 being able to get the ball to them. Those are traits that we really haven't seen in a few years here since last year up in East Lansing. When we look at the offensive line, it's got great potential. Cap's done a great job with them. We're young, right? When you get to the second level,
very much so.
Yeah, very much so young. And so, how has the development of the offensive line come along during spring ball and during summer conditioning and stuff?
Right, I think it's good. We've taken some good steps. This spring was probably the most interesting one for Cap and all of us because we were really limited in our numbers there. We obviously, as some of the mainstay linemen that had been around here forever that, finished up, obviously the loss of them. And then we had some really good players that, with Matt Carrick and things like that had, kind of some late season injuries that they were nursing and didn't go through spring. So from that part, it was very different for us. But at the same token, it really allowed us, a lot of those guys that were yet redshirted and very, very young, they got a chance to roll this spring and got more reps than they ever would have considered having before. So I'm hoping once we get to about October or so, we're going to see that pay dividends, with those young guys. And then obviously we've added, Brian Green in the transfer situation, really, really excited about him. And I think he'll really help us. He's very marketable from the perspective that he can play a lot of different positions. You have him, and then obviously we had a good signing class that Coach Cap brought in, and those guys got all here this summer, and really really excited about their future. Obviously, still young and will grow, but it looks completely different than what we looked like in the spring.
I thought to tell you the spring ball. I think you guys are rolling 7 guys, maybe 7.
Yeah, it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Listen, I played. And when you're rolling 7, 8 guys in spring ball, and you're doing inside run, and everybody on the planet knows you're running the ball, and there's no play action. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. So I give Cap and those young men a lot of credit because rolling those kind of guys and trying to be able to to function as a scrimmage and to be able to create a scenario, that's tough. That's really tough. No,
it is. It was very challenging, but they fought through it, and like I said, I think it'll be really positive for us as we move forward. That's some valuable reps that's going to pay dividends.
Yeah. So, Coach, my last question for you: people like myself in the media, who are we not giving enough buzz to on that offense? Who's going to surprise people the most?
Good question. Very good question. I guess we already did hit the tight ends a little bit, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think and we touched the running backs, I'm really, really excited about the receiver core. Obviously losing Speedy and that, Jay Reed coming back, really excited there, obviously. But I tell you, some of the young guys that have just gotten in this summer, really, really excited about how they're progressing and the skill set they show. And so it's going to be very, very exciting once we get out there and get out of just our T-shirts and underwear and start playing football. To see what they're made of, what they're like, what their physicality is, but they've shown a really good skill set. So I'm excited about some of those young receivers.
Perfect.
Coach, I'm a little concerned we're going to play football in T-shirts and underwear.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm ready to get back into fall camp so we can.
That's a little concerning. Just going to be honest with you.
Very concerning.
Going to be very honest with you.
Concerning.
I got one last question, and this is just a request. Can we call a flea flicker for the first 3 games to open the game?
Probably could. Yeah.
Okay.
It will be up there somewhere, probably.
Yeah, I'm just making a request. That's
Nobody
all.
stopped it.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well. Especially, might as well. So
absolutely. Might as well roll it out there again. Might as well roll it out there again.
Make them stop you twice in a row.
Yeah, they got to stop it. Exactly. 100%.
Coach, I appreciate you joining us. Good luck to you. We are excited for you. Stay healthy through Wednesday. It all starts, right? August 3rd.
It does. Yeah, crank it up a week from today.
Yeah, crank it up a week from today, and we're ready to go. And the Woodshed's going to be rocking here come Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Woodshed full of people and go green and go white. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great environment. Yeah.
Coach, thank you for joining us very much. You have a wonderful night, and God bless and go green. I appreciate you, and take care. Good night.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Good deal.
Coach,
thanks, guys. Appreciate all your support. Go white.
Thank you. Go white. Thanks, Coach Jay Green, offensive coordinator. Jay Johnson. Jay Green. I'm thinking Jay Green.
SD4L.
Yeah. Jay Johnson, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, joining us. I'm telling you, he has a really fantastic reputation across the country.
Yeah.
When you talk to coaches across the country,
yeah.
His ingenuity and his scheming, and a lot of people really compliment him against really Miami, using their speed against them, running a lot of those slip screens and using some of their pressure against them. He's really did a nice job of calling plays all year.
I think one of the underrated qualities of Jay's abilities are, if you watch a game, you watch the first 2 or 3 drives, and you see, okay, Jay's kind of feeling out what the other team's doing. I think the Rutgers game is an example of this. Maybe a 3-and-out here and there, and on the fly, maybe the 3rd drive, suddenly the offense starts humming. He's a good in-game adjuster.
Absolutely.
And people don't kind of maybe give him enough credit for that, but yeah, I've gotten to know a lot about Jay from what quarterback recruits say. Myself, Corey Robinson, Stephen Brooks. One thing that every quarterback that Coach Johnson recruits, whether they commit here or not, is they say one of the reasons they like Michigan State is Coach Johnson was one of the smartest coaches that they've ever met. And that's their opinion. And we write it, we pass it along. But those words were being said even before this past season, where he had the great on-field results. And that's what people think about Jay, the people that are coaching, that he's coaching.
That's why he was a Broyles Award finalist. I mean, he's gonna, as we continue to succeed, God willing, he'll be on that list, and one day a possible head coaching candidate. I mean, he's that's the way he's tracking. So,
right.
Best of luck to them. But let's move on to the next topic. MSU preseason watch list. We got a ton of them. Tell us, Justin.
Yes, lots of Michigan State players, and the head coach Mel Tucker getting some preseason accolades this year. I guess, I'll run through them in order here, and we'll get some tweets put on the screen as I go through them. But Coach Tucker, he's on the Dodd Coach of the Year watch list. So that's obviously the Coach of the Year award, and there you see the graphic there, released by Michigan State. Well-deserved honor there. Then we have Xavier Henderson, who was on the preseason watch list for the Thorpe Award and the Nagurski Award. So there you see the graphic for the Thorpe Award there for X. There you see the graphic for the Nagurski. Then we have Jacob Slade, who also has multiple honors. He's a Walter Camp preseason All-American second-team defensive tackle, and he is also on the watch list for the Outland Trophy. Jerick Broussard, I know I keep saying he's very slept on. I think I'm going to continue to say that. He is a Doak Walker Award watch list member, and you see the graphic there on the screen. He was the 2020 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year. Very, very springy, very explosive in near distance gaps. And then another multi-honoree here. We have Jaden Reed, who's a Biletnikoff Award watch list member, as you see on the graphic on the screen. And he is also preseason All Big Ten. What does that tell you, Brian?
That speaks to the talent level of this program, the respect that they're getting nationally, and the attention that they're getting nationally.
Right.
That the preseason accolades are a product of one thing: winning and hype, and well deserved.
Right.
Every one of them deserves that. So preseason doesn't mean a thing. It only matters at the end of the year. But it's great that they're getting those that notice, and it's well deserved. So congratulations to the rest of these young men, and let's hope those same awards happen postseason.
Yeah.
So that's right. On to our next topic. Pat Narduzzi.
That's your guy,
with a weird
it?
flex. My man Dooz. Play that video. Please.
You know, you made a lot of people at Michigan State mad with that conversation, right, Pat?
Hey, that's tough luck. It's called facts. You know, it's facts. We didn't have Kenny Pickett play. We didn't have Damari Mathis play. Two of our guys didn't get drafted. Nobody's going to run the ball on us. So, I don't think it really mattered. I mean, that's just the way I felt, and it came about just talking about Kenny Pickett not playing in the bowl game and all that stuff. I didn't mean to really come out, but it's the absolute truth, really. If that's the best or one of the best teams, what are we talking about here?
And then later today, Coach Tucker was asked about Pat Narduzzi's comments, and he had this to say. No, before that. I think we had Tucker's comments was before that. He talked about, do you have that tweet? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Read that out.
Yeah, he said, I really prefer not to get into hypotheticals, especially games that were played in the past and were decided on the field.
It's very interesting comments by Pat Narduzzi, who has an affinity for Michigan State, and I was actually surprised because he doubled down.
Yeah.
He made the comment twice, and not only did he talk about MSU and how much they would beat MSU, he talked about winning the Big Ten. So, dudes,
got to beat Western Michigan first.
Dudes, you're a Spartan. You were a Spartan. Come on, dudes. We expect better out of you.
I just want to know how someone that's a Power 5 head coach does not know the Doak Walker Award winner was also out, or just failing to mention that in their argument.
Listen, I get that he's playing up to his fan base, and I get that he's doing what he has to do on a local radio show. But Pat, we all know how much you loved Michigan State, how much you meant to us, how much I love you. I've always loved you. I think you're wonderful. Always loved you, and I know how much the affinity you had for this place. So we're gonna, by next week, dudes, we'd like you to retract some of those statements and say that you love Spartan Nation. That's what we would love, because my heart is still with you, and I love you, and we're not gonna get negative here because of how much you meant to Spartan Nation. But dudes, we need you to clarify some of those comments and remind everybody at Spartan Nation how much you love this place and love the people here.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask you if you think if something might be motivating this, maybe a previous coaching search around here, but we don't have to get negative, as you said. So we will.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. But dudes, give us some love here over the last week. Over the next week, please, because those comments were very surprising, especially the history you've had here, what you did for this university, and a lot of that was unnecessary, quite frankly. So, we'll move on to the next topic for now, before we address that in the future. On to the next topic.
Spartan Dog.
We are. Play that video for us. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Darian Harris joining us live from the Woodshed. Is he on?
Yes, he is. Let's see.
Give us a nice view, D. Harris.
There he is.
There
we go. There we go.
There we go, right there. Look at that, live from the Woodshed. You're giving us an early peek. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. How are you all?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. Absolutely doing fantastic. You got a goat there? Do you got an airplane? You got a limo?
Rolls Royce Cullinan.
What do you got? What do you got sitting over there on the 50? Anything for us?
Man, just good East Lansing grass. I mean, I think everybody's always mesmerized by the fact that this is actually real, not turf. So we're going with what we got, which is the best field in the country, and feels great to be in here. Looking forward to opening night, Friday night against Western Michigan for sure.
Sure is. So, D, we got the biggest weekend here coming up all year. Spartan Dog Con coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about what's about to transpire this weekend, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, as you mentioned, it's our biggest on-campus event of the year. It's our Comic-Con, it's our spectacle, it's our Coachella, it's whatever you want to call it. That's our event for us. We're going to welcome back 200 former players to campus this year, going more than 50% above what we had last year when we did Spartan Dog Con 1. So we're really excited about Spartan Dog Con 2 this year, pairing it with an unofficial recruiting weekend also. Just exciting times here in East Lansing. It's going to be a great weekend, a lot of fun, a lot of reminiscing with the fellowship. And the beauty of Spartan Dog Con, the whole main reason for it is it's a convention for former players. We give them programming. So when we say 4-year decision for the next 40 years of your life, this is what we're talking about, where it doesn't matter where you are in your life at this current time. You come to Spartan Dog Con, you're going to leave with some nuggets of information that's going to benefit you when you go back home.
Yeah. So you brought up a good point, right? Because, this in this era, things seem to be a lot more transactional. And I think it's very important for the recruits to see, that you have 200 former players coming in for the weekend, to understand the culture that's built at the university, and that if you're a former player, if you're a Spartan Dog for life, you're a Spartan Dog for life. And that these decisions that they're going to make really are not going to affect them for the next 4 years. They're going to affect them for the next 40 years. And understanding, about being short-sighted and the long term, because I'm 30 some years out, and Michigan State has changed my life. Everything around me is MSU related, and everything has helped me. And if there's a message that you could give to potential recruits, right, when you see 200 former players, what does that speak to the culture and the future that they have going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you mentioned, I don't think you're going to understand the magnitude of the opportunity that you had in college until years down the line. It doesn't matter where you go. And this morning, Coach Manny reached out to me, which was awesome to hear from him. You want to talk about somebody that's had an impact on all of our lives. Yeah. He's impacting where I am now. So just the fact that, we say 4 years for the next 40 years of your life, that's what this event is about. It's about truly embodying what that means, and understanding that when you reflect back on your times in college, that which should be the best time of your life, you're going to be able to tell your future family, your future kids, your future wife, I had some special times, and they created the man that you see before you now.
Yeah, I think a lot of programs talk about a family feel, family environment, and things like that, but not a lot of programs can actually assemble an event like this to actually provide evidence that that is the culture that exists at that school. I think recalling last year's event, a lot of parents that I spoke to, some of those prospects ended up committing to Michigan State. The parents were just blown away because the parents understand the foundation that is being set here more than some of the 17, 18-year-old kids do. In that regard, you guys have over 30 kids coming this weekend, and you just have an opportunity here to ingrain the fabric of the Spartan Dog culture in them. What do you hope is 1 or 2 bullet points that kids can take away from seeing these guys 20, 30, 40 years removed as they go back home after they leave campus?
Well, first they got to feel the passion. You're going to feel the passion and the energy and the enthusiasm and the love that these Spartan Dogs have for their alma mater, for where they went to school, they decided to come to school, and where they lined up, the memories that they had in the woodshed, where I am right now. So we don't have to fake that. That's not manufactured. You put, these young men who have tough decisions to make on where they're going to go to school around these, like you said, former players that are years removed, and you can just feel the energy and the passion. You have no choice but to be moved by that. So, that's the first thing. And then the second thing, again, is just to kind of get a sense of how fast it goes. You don't realize while you're in it, 3, 4, 5 years that you're in college, it goes quick. It goes just like that, and then you're on to the next stage of your life. So are you able to take advantage of everything that the school that you decide to go to has to offer while you're there so that it can affect you positively when you're at this next stage of your life that these former players are in, no matter if they're a year removed or, like you said, 30, 40 years removed. We're going to have guys here that played in the 60s, that played under Coach Duffy, so you talk about players that are 60 years removed. I mean, you can't help, again, but just feel that, and the fact that they want to be here for this weekend.
I think that speaks a testament to the culture that Coach Tucker's built in, Coach D'Antonio started, even John L. Smith really started of inviting former players. But really, Coach Tucker has embraced and understood how important that is, that building that culture of bringing in the former players, because really nobody can speak about Michigan State University better than those that have experienced it. And when you see the culture that Coach Tucker is bringing, and you see the energy that he's bringing, and we see that, right, as former players, the turnout that's coming in. Like, what does that tell you, of what's changing up there?
Yeah, I mean, again, it tells you that it's real, and that's all that we can do, when we do in these recruiting visits, whether unofficial, official, talking to these prospects. We're just giving them the truth at the end of the day. And the truth is that Coach Tucker believes that former players are the backbone of the program. He believes in the family atmosphere, and he believes in keeping the brotherhood tight-knit. So one of the first initiatives that he had when he was hired as head coach is, how can we galvanize the former players, the alum, and make them feel welcome back on campus? Even the ones that were kind of in that lull period where they didn't know if they were welcome back or not, we got them back. And so now, again, it's building on that, having events like this and saying, not only do we want you to come back and come to games and practice and things like that, we're actually going to provide programming for you. We're going to invite you, and Coach Tucker's going to host you at his house. I mean, how many head coaches are doing that? You know what I mean? So just when you think about that, like hearing from, again, these alum who have been around the block and they know other guys that have gone to other schools, they're like, nobody in the country has an event like this. Right. Nobody in the country has an event where the head coach is inviting former players that he doesn't know from Adam to his house, for an evening. Right. And all we're saying is just get here. Just get here, and we got it taken care of. So, I mean, that's the culture, and that's what Coach Tucker is. He's just real at the end of the day. Like, you can't fake what we're doing here.
Yeah, and proof of how unique this event is you can look at the visitors list, who's coming, look at who else they have offers from, how far away they're coming from, and where they're choosing to spend their weekend this weekend, and all the other closer options that they could have spent the weekend at. That speaks, in my opinion, to the uniqueness of this weekend in an evidentiary way, and not even just our opinions. That's just, the proof is in the pudding there. I guess, Darren, as recruiting as a whole, you guys have had an 11-win season. The program is fully back on the map. Coach Tucker's doing a great job with branding. Everyone in the building's working hard at that. What would you say is the biggest change that you felt from a recruiting and perception standpoint? Like, how has the program changed recently, maybe in the reception you're getting, the kids you're getting? Just what is your overall temperature check on the change?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think that we're able to show that we can win here. We're able to show proof of success on the field. We're able to show proof of success off the field. We're able to show that when we say we're going to provide a program to our student athletes, we actually do it. Not just do we have the what, but we can show the how. And we can actually show the process of how we develop the holistic 360-degree student athlete. So now that we're going into year 3, we're able to prove and provide proof of our program and of our process. But at the same time, we still have a long way to go. You know, Coach Tucker said it today at Media Day, nobody cares what you did last year. Mm-hmm. Anybody that's deciding on what school to go to, they don't really care what you did. And where do you see me in terms of the future? Where's the future of your program going? So we have to show that too. And that's why we put a lot of emphasis and time and effort, of course.
We lost you.
Even beyond that, just making sure that we're telling the truth at the end of the day, and if you come here and you like what you did, check every box, then why not us? If there's some box that we don't check, then let us know and we'll get it fixed. We'll get it corrected.
Right. I got one last question for you. What this event this weekend, just for the listeners and the viewers, what events, what entails this weekend so people kind of understand what's going to happen this weekend?
For sure. So from a former player standpoint, Friday night we got a social set up for them, which is going to be a lot of fun. An off-campus social setup in the community, which is going to be great. And Saturday we run the SD4L program. So we got check-in. We're going to review last season and kind of reminisce on that a little bit. But then we're going to talk about what's next. We're going to go over the offense, go over the defense, allow these former players that know the game to also understand the scheme we're running, so that when they're watching the game, they know what they're looking for. Once we get the football fix done, of course, have a nice lunch, and then we go into their programming. So this year, we're featuring strength conditioning, health and wellness, led by Dr. Guest. We're going to do a focus on sleep, led by former player Todd Anderson. Saeed Khalif, our general manager, of course, is going to do a little bit of recruiting overview, again, just to show our process. And then we're going to close it out with Sean Hart, another former player. He's going to do family, fatherhood, legacy, and leadership to close out. And then we move to Coach Tucker's house after that. So big weekend, long weekend, taking them to school a little bit. They're going to bring their notebook and their pen, but we're going to have a really good time.
I love it. How come I wasn't invited?
Hey, man, y'all know you got the email. I know you got the email.
I'd love to go.
Yeah, that's why you were asking about the itinerary.
I don't know. I mean, I got the. I'm just going to be out of town. I would love to come. I'm going to tell you, this is the only event of its kind in the country. Yep. I have never. And I've talked to coaches. I've talked to players at Alabama, to Notre Dame, to Oregon.
Yes.
And nobody has something like this. So this is super, super special. And when I talk to a lot of my former teammates, there's never been a time that they have felt more welcome. And they felt welcome under Coach D, no question about it, But, like this, they feel like this program is theirs now. And I think when that happens and that culture is built and they're able to pass it on to the young ones, winning's a byproduct. And so you've done a great job, D.
For sure.
Done a great job, but I still think I look better than you, though, to be honest with you. I think you got about 20. You got,
hey,
what
man,
I got?
You in shape, man.
You got 20 years. I got 20. How old are you? I got 20.
29.
Yeah. Oh, I got 20 years on you. I'll whoop your ass.
You eat too many salads,
bro. You're one of those former linemen that slimmed down. These linemen get skinny and the skill position is big.
Yeah. All he eats are Brussels sprouts and salads and lettuce.
Darian, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you, brother. And we're live from the Woodshed. We can't wait for the Woodshed.
Give us a shot of that shirt.
Give us a shot. Let me see that shirt right there.
Yeah, look at that.
Give us a panoramic view of the stadium. Give us a view of the stadium. Show us the Woodshed.
There we go.
Oh,
we'll do it like that.
Oh, yeah, right there. Can't wait.
Can't beat it.
Man, you can't beat that.
5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Can't beat it.
5 weeks. 5 weeks.
All right, Darian.
All
Thank
right,
you,
brother.
Thank you for all the
joining
insight.
us.
Thank you for
fellas.
everything.
Appreciate you, Darian Harris.
Sir.
I'll tell you, Director of Player Development,
Yep.
personnel, done a great job.
Yep.
And what a great ambassador for the program.
For sure.
I'll
Darian
tell
does
you.
a ton behind the scenes.
Darian's done a hell of a job, an absolutely hell of a job.
Yep.
And such a smart young man, and just a great ambassador of the program. And I got so many of my former teammates texting me, "Are you going this weekend? Are you going this weekend?" to Coach's house, and they're just so excited. And talk to us a little bit about the recruiting list coming this weekend. I know you wrote a couple things.
Yeah. I'll have a full list dropping. I want to say Friday morning. Myself and my colleagues at 24/7, we've all been working really hard to uncover the guys that are coming up. So far, as of before this show started airing, 28 names are on the list. 23 are 4 stars or 5 stars. 4 of them are 5 stars, and I wrote a separate article on those yesterday. They're coming from all over the nation. You have in-state high 4-star guys like Jacob Oden, to 5-star guys from Florida, Oklahoma, Arizona, Georgia. A lot of Georgia guys, Buford, Georgia guys, where Malik Spencer's from. The top quarterback target, Jake Merklinger, also from Atlanta, in the Atlanta area, is coming up. The star power they have from the 2024 class coming up. I know I said this for the spring game about how that star power is unprecedented. OVs, that star power, I used the word unprecedented. But again, 28 guys, 23 4 and 5 stars. I would like anybody to find me a 23 4 and 5 star list for a one-day visit in Michigan State history. It truly is just unprecedented. Once again, that seems to be a trend here. I know people might think I'm overusing the word, but every new big event that there is, the talent just grows. So it really is an impressive weekend from a recruiting standpoint.
And you know what? It's translating, and eventually it will translate. I know there's been, some consternation about, some of the recent commits lately, but this will translate. It does not happen overnight. And we are going to do this the right way. We're going to do this the right way, and we're going to...
A sustainable way?
A sustainable way, and a model that's built for the long haul. So patience on some of this stuff is required, because if you want a program that's going to be built on integrity, done the right way, some of this stuff takes some time. So I'm excited for this weekend.
Yeah.
Absolutely excited. Just before we let you go, Justin, can you give us an update on basketball recruiting update, please?
It's one of the most fun times covering Michigan State basketball recruiting in quite some time, I would say, for myself. First of all, everybody knows I've put in the crystal ball for Michigan State to land 5-star power forward from Indiana, Xavier Booker. Xavier is the number 3 player in the entire nation. From my sources, I'm hearing that it is down to Michigan State and Gonzaga. I'm also hearing that Gonzaga does not feel confident that they will even land a visit before the eventual commitment that Xavier Booker will make. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say I would be very, very, very surprised if Xavier Booker does not commit to Michigan State. Obviously, it would not be the first time there was a shocking surprise in recruiting.
Or that you're wrong.
Right. Well, hold 100 for 102 on the crystal balls. And, Xavier Booker would be one of the most impressive pickups of the Tom Izzo era. I believe he might even end up being ranked as the top 1 or 2 pickup, but more than just the rankings. He is at a position of need, especially where you look at the current roster, the big man, the 6'11" kind of inside presence. Crazy shot blocker, very athletic, has an outside touch. For a while there, the industry was just calling him Jaren Jackson Light. Now he is ranked higher than Jaren Jackson was at this point of his career. I think still a little raw in some cases, but obviously just a tremendous, tremendous talent. And Tom Izzo has been relentless. He has been at every single Xavier Booker game in the last several circuits. He's probably seen Xavier Booker more than he's seen his own family, to be honest. He has been perfectly executing that pursuit. And it seems like, from everything I'm hearing, that in the next few weeks, that should be paying off.
He's definitely seen Xavier Booker more than he's seen me. So that I
hope so.
Yeah, that I can confirm.
You're not going to be blocking any shots for him next year.
No, not at all. No.
Yep. And then the next prospect, Devin Royal, he's announcing his top 3 on Friday. He announced via Twitter. Devin Royal is one of those small ball 4s, maybe a tough, hard-nosed 3 that I think he has a little Malik Hall to him. He's a guy that is going to be able to win basketball games from the day he steps on campus. I'm hearing that Ohio State has some momentum there. We'll see if Michigan State can swing it back. I think that recruitment, I'm hearing, should be wrapping up also in sometime in the near future. Coach Izzo has also made Devin Royal a priority. He would come in at a position where they will have immediate need, as Malik Hall and Joey Hauser will probably be gone after this year. He could probably come in and start as a true freshman. So the opportunities are there. Izzo knows how to use somebody of his caliber in Malik Hall. So we'll see. We'll see if Michigan State can swing the momentum back there from Ohio State. But that seems to be a 2-team race from what I'm hearing. And then just real quick, Jeremy Fears going to play for the Overtime Elite instead of his senior year of high school. He will be obviously preserving his college eligibility by opting for a scholarship and deferring a salary. That allows him to get around-the-clock, 24/7 basketball development, and he will be in great shape for his freshman year at Michigan State. Just another example of him continuing to seek out challenging development at every turn. Dominated the FIBA Worlds where he won gold with the U17 team, was at LaLu playing the top competition, and now once again playing at OTE. And yeah, also Michigan State expanded the board, added a few wing targets. You can read about that on the Shaw Lane message board. Anything, Brian, on what do you think about all this basketball?
I have no idea what you're talking about. My job is to get guests, but
just know.
I want Devin Booker, though. That's who I want, and I want actually Jeremy Fears has done an amazing job of recruiting young men.
Yep.
So if we could change our football and basketball recruiting staff to Jeremy Fears, Andrew DePape, and Mama Hall, right? If those 3 were recruiting for us, we would probably land the top 5 classes in both football and basketball. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the floor general is relentlessly recruiting anyone and everyone that Michigan State is interested in at a very, very high clip. He is going all out. I know Devin Royal and Xavier Booker, he has been all over them. He also knows about Cohen Carr and some of these new targets that are emerging, and he's on top of it. Every prospect recruits to some degree, but the floor general, Jeremy Fears, has taken it up like 4 or 5 notches. If this class ends up being as good as a lot of us think it can be, Fears deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit.
Give me Fears, give me Mama Hall,
Andrew DePape,
and Chief Propaganda, and we will hoist the natty in football.
Yeah.
And we will cut the nets down.
Yeah.
In basketball.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have Andrew DePape here talk about his recruiting strategy in the coming weeks.
You know what? We're gonna get him on. We gotta get him on.
Sounds like that's what we'll do.
That's what we're gonna do.
We'll have the Chief make a call.
Yes, we'll have the Chief make the call. So, thank you for joining, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching Spartan Dogs for Life, the SD4L show. I am Brian Mosalem, along with my co-host, Justin Thin. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless, and go green.